Well, the Senzo Meyiwa trial continues to be a drama-fueled affair, with today's proceedings disrupted by the now well-known Malisela Teffo. This is the former legal representative of one of the accused in the murder trial. Teffo demanding to see the judge in chambers with news that he had sensitive information to share. He took further umbrage at Judge Tshifiwa Maumela's clerk, asking the lawyers for the accused whether they were okay with that. Teffo was disbarred last year, you may recall, after being declared to be lacking in integrity and no longer meeting the threshold of being an advocate. Legal analyst Nthabiseng Dubazana joins us now for more. Good evening and welcome, Nthabiseng. Great to have you with us. Never a dull moment in this never-ending trial, it would seem. Teffo still wearing his robes. What is his status now?
Last I checked, is as you've said, that he was disbarred. He has come, I remember we did an interview with him not too long ago, wherein he states that he was not disbarred, while he said that he took the matter on appeal. And as a result of the matter being on appeal, it means that the High Court ruling whereby he was disbarred is basically being set aside until there's an outcome of the appeal. So that's what he said with his mouth when we were having an interview with him not too long ago. But as it stands, I haven't seen any papers that state that there's an appeal application for the review. So we don't know exactly where he stands, but that's what he said to me when we were speaking.
Was he right to make the request that he did and to take offense at the judge asking the accused their opinion on his request for a meeting in chambers?
You know, you know what, Advocate Teffo tends to be a little bit extra. He tends to not understand the process of criminal court, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how he approaches the decorum of the court. I don't understand where he's gotten the impression that he can make the demands that he has. What you do is you make a request and an application to the court, and then you inform the court your reasons why you would rather have the matter to be heard in chambers rather than it being heard before the public, and the court can make a decision as to whether or not they can proceed with the matter in chambers, and then they can go back to normal court and continue. It is not proper in the manner that he has dealt with it so far, even as we saw in the matter previously when he was still on the record. He dealt with it improperly. There are some good things he could bring up, but he was bringing them in the wrong way when it comes to the criminal procedure that's supposed to be followed within the courtroom.
I mean, this is a case that has certainly impaled the attention of the nation, and the desire to get to the truth is almost palpable. So let's go back to the merits of the trial itself and getting closer to truth. There was another delay before the announcement of new legal representatives for some of the accused. A similar thing happened last year after accused number 1 and 2 got new representation. What's the likely impact of this on the case actually moving forward?
As we saw, the new legal representatives want, so to speak, to re-examine the witnesses that have already given their evidence. They have a right to do so. They need to put in an application, of which they did. And now the court is basically was saying that, you know what, let's not have a tussle between whether or not this should be done. Because I remember Advocate Baloyi for the state was saying, you know what, it can't be that every single time that the accused persons have a new legal representative, we have to go back and then ask witnesses the same questions. Or sometimes we don't even know what direction the questions are going to be, so it doesn't make sense. And then Judge Maumela is saying that, listen, let's not have a tussle back and forth. You both arm yourselves with what you need to arm yourselves with pertaining to this. And therefore, as a result, it will be taken from there. And it's not anything unusual in matters such as this. So what happens is that when a new attorney comes on record, they are given the transcripts of what have happened on dates that they were not on record. And if they have questions, they have a right to do so because they're working on new instructions on a new matter, which they were not part of from the beginning.
Well, let's get into what the court actually heard today, and testimony from another witness, Mthokozisi Twala, sharing more details on the activities inside the home that fateful evening. How do you assess the pace of progress in this trial?
It's a little slow, I suppose, based on what has happened so far. You know, pertaining to how the court started for the day, the delays that were involved, and also postponing other matters prior to this particular matter happening. We probably could have gotten a little far, but it's a little slow as to what is happening. We need to get to the crux of the matter sooner. I don't know if the state has had an opportunity, which they ought to have, but we don't know if they had an opportunity to consult with their client, which is the witness, to prepare them for examination in chief and then cross-examination. And in order to get the witness to get to the points that need to be dealt with quicker. But, it is what it is. It's the way the witness is choosing to relay his story, what he remembers, how he remembers it, so that when eventually he is asked in cross-examination to clarify certain aspects, he would have gone through each and every situation the way that he remembers it.
I mean, it really is important because verdicts, in any matter are the sum of their total parts. Every little story, every little, event, every little nuance forms or informs the outcome at the end. I want to go a little bit bigger picture now, Nthabiseng, the issue of not delivering numerous judgments on time, sometimes years. The Judicial Service Commission recommending that 2 judges be suspended pending the outcome of a tribunal hearing. And one actually is against Judge Maumela, the presiding judge in this matter. What's the impact of this in general on both the court's reputation and the concept of access to justice?
So it is a bit of a daunting one. We have situations where there are judgments that are outstanding. And if a judgment is outstanding, it means there's no justice for the litigants, both the applicants and the respondents, if it's a civil matter, and both the state and the accused, if it's a criminal matter. So let's assume we take Judge Maumela, who is the one presiding over this current matter. And he is, if I'm not mistaken, one of the judges who are being recommended to be suspended. If the matters that he has dealt with are majority criminal cases and the accused persons are still in custody, right? Then in that respect, it would mean that if there is no judgment, they are continuing to serve time wherein we don't know what kind of time they're supposed to be spending because bail was denied. So that is a problem in terms of not knowing where you stand as an accused person. And if in civil proceedings, there's probably a judgment wherein it is supposed to take maybe a person forward in monies that are being recovered or perhaps getting access to children and all of those things, if we don't have a judgment present for us to tell us which way we're supposed to go, children are suffering this side, people are suffering financially. And as a result, this is why matters need to be dealt with as soon as reasonably possible. I've had a case a few times where you wait over 6 months wherein there is no judgment, or a judgment was just verbally handed down, but we don't have a written one, and we can't now go file a verbal judgment. We need the written one in order to go file it at different institutions. It is very, very bleak for justice. It shines a very horrible light on the court because it means that they're delaying the justice that is due to the parties involved in the matters.
Very serious ramifications there, and thank you for sharing that with us and your perspective, legal analyst Nthabiseng Dubazana.